Good
Hello.
morning. Coming at you from Chestnut Ridge, Sisters Squared. I'm Kristen.
And I'm Grace.
This week's topic, which is week number 4,
I think we're 4, yeah. Week 4.
is generational programming, societal
Expectations.
expectation, and
Conditioning.
conditioning, programming,
Maybe.
like
All that.
all the things that fall under that canopy of, the specific roles that were designed to fill. That was a good one.
Yeah, yeah. And so it was a conversation actually that started. I woke up thinking about this Sunday morning, and I had a conversation with my husband about it. And it really, for me, it started as things that I had brought in from my previous marriage and really other relationships that I had with men. In this particular case, that was what our topic was about, and like what we brought in from our marriages and the expectations. And for me, it's I'm trying to think of a way to put it nicely. What men have expected from us in the past, and what we thought was our duty or role, and those don't fit anymore. And so how to break through all that stuff and like really have conversations like I want to be more affectionate. I want to be more open and but it can't always lead to sex. And I don't want that necessarily. I mean, not that I don't want that ever, but I don't want, it's like a hug can just be a hug, it doesn't have to be, so like
one thing doesn't always have to lead to
it doesn't.
another.
And what ends up happening is I hold myself back a little bit because I don't want to lead anybody on.
Well, and I think there's always been some confusion in the eyes of the masculine that was love equals sex, or sex equals love.
Right.
That's not the case at all.
Yeah.
There is some confusion there, I think.
Yeah.
If you don't have sex with me, you must not love me. No, I'm busy doing everything else under the sun.
Everything else.
I don't have the energy to do
No.
that for you.
I'm gonna shave my
Like,
legs
and I may actually have a resentment
right.
that I'm doing all these things and I just need you to lift a finger and help me out.
Yeah.
Like, Serge and I have come a long way. We've been together for 26 years. So our relationship has made multiple transitions, and we are finally in a place where we're a team, and I can appreciate him for all his stuff, like everything he brings to the table, like his sense of humor, and I can be open to all of it and not hold back anymore, where I did hold back. I couldn't be affectionate without it ending up having to be assumed that was the next step, was sex, because it's not always. Sometimes you just need somebody to hug you and kiss you on the forehead.
Yeah.
And part of that is us being able to say, can you just hold me and kiss me on the forehead? That's all I need right now.
Yeah. And being able to say that is just so liberating. I mean, I was just saying too, I think it's so impressive because you guys have been together for so long, and navigating this landscape and coming to the place that you're at now. I just think that's so impressive, and I think it's really inspiring. I'm kind of still a newlywed, and so we're doing that now, and of course we're much older, but not much older than you. I'm not. No, I mean, we're much older in our relationship when we got together. And actually we were talking about this too. It's like, think about how we were raised. So we were raised, at least in our case, by parents who were raised in the 50s, by parents who were raised in like maybe the 30s, by parents who were raised in the 1800s, late 1800s,
back when they didn't take their clothes off
early
to have sex,
1900s, right?
Wham bam, thank you, ma'am.
Right.
Let's see if we can make a baby.
So like all of that programming and all of that, those, societal expectations, those came into our parenting, and maybe possibly even the way we parented our kids in some regard. I mean, it's possible. I mean, I know I'm a much different parent than my dad was.
I didn't start out that way.
And I didn't either. I did not start out that way either. I'm not proud of this, but I did spank, and I did, put my kids in whatever. I mean, took away things, whatever. It's very punitive. I know better now.
Yeah.
And hopefully I'll do better with my grandkids someday, but
I am.
yeah, right, you are already, but I don't know. So that was just, I don't know. I felt like this was such a divinely inspired conversation, because I literally woke up in the morning thinking about it, and I was like, I gotta talk to my husband about this. And in the morning we have, especially Sundays when there really isn't anywhere to go, we have coffee on the couch, and sometimes we get in some really deep conversations, and they're so amazing and awesome. And after he talked about school stuff and band stuff and drum circle stuff and soccer stuff and all this stuff, I said, I need your help with something, and he was totally open to it. I mean, it was so great. It was really great. Really great.
The thing is, and we've only just transversed this for our relationship. Over the last few months, I find that I'm more joyful in my relationship, and I'm more open, and I am able to use my words in a way that uplifts him, in such a way that he just wants to be that for me. He wants to be that for me, because I'm so appreciative of the gentle touch he has for me now. And I think that now that I've recognized the divinity in my own self and my worth as a divine feminine, like, I am not who I thought I was, and not who I was willing to accept that people told me I was, or I'm not filling a role that doesn't fit anymore, or I'm not trying to fill a role that was laid out for me and said, you have to do this, and you have to be that, and you have to do this, and this is how we do it. When it was just me and my boys, and yes, I was in a relationship, but because I figured, because they were my two boys from a previous relationship, that I had to be the mom and the dad. So I robbed him of that role, that masculine role. I took it on myself, and I did a half-ass job. I maybe did more masculine than feminine. I was definitely lopsided. I worked construction jobs, and I had very masculine jobs where I felt that I had to do that to set a good a work ethic and a good example for my boys. Like, you work hard, and this is the result. Like, I had to show them how tough I was. And now I don't have to be so tough. I mean, and some of that is growing up and not having to raise a family anymore. We're in a different place in our lives, for sure.
Yeah.
But even that, I would encourage the women now who are raising their children to allow the masculine to fill his role.
Yeah.
And to give him the opportunity to step into something. Like, we don't have to control and program everything just because that's the way we were raised. Like, everything had a place, everything had a box, everything needs to fit. And if it's not fitting, we are going to push and fight and shove it into that box anyway. Because that was how we were raised. Like, everything had a place, everything had a box, and everything had to fit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like that anymore. Like, there's nothing traditional about the way that we're doing things.
No.
Not anymore.
Mm-mm.
Not anymore.
No.
So it's time for us to adapt as well in our relationships.
Yeah, I was thinking when you were talking about how I parented my kids, and of course I was with their dad, and I was married to him, and they were his kids. But I found myself parenting the way I was parented, the way our dad did things, which, in his situation, because our mom passed away and he got remarried, and our stepmother she wasn't capable really of parenting us, or even, so my dad did a lot of things, just did them. He didn't discuss them. He just did them. And I found myself doing that in my own marriage, and especially when it came to the kids, I was the primary disciplinarian. I ran those kids everywhere. And partly because, my husband at the time just wasn't around. He was working. He was very, very busy, and that took up so much of his time. And I was blessed to be able to stay at home for several years before I went out into the working world, which will lead me to another topic. But I didn't have conversations with him. I just did it. I made decisions, and I did not financial stuff, because I really hated that stuff, but everything else, if it involved the kids, I took care of it. I just thought I should, and I didn't even consult him with stuff. Oh shoot, I forgot what I was just gonna say. I forgot what it was. Oh, sugar. Well, anyway.
It'll come.
It'll come back. But I was gonna say something about that. I know what it was. Taking so much on. I took so much on, and, I think partly because it was necessary, and partly because of my own self, that I thought I was better at everything and that I could do it better. Oof, that ego. There it is. But anyway, so I took a lot on. And so when it did come time to, have conversations with my husband, or share, or, I couldn't do it, because I just felt like I was doing so much. I had everything, and if I let one thing go, it was all going. Yeah. And so letting him in a little bit, or, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it because I felt like I had to carry everything, and that's not even true. I know that's not true now, but I felt that way. And of course, I didn't even have the communication skills to say. I just didn't. I did not have the communication skills to say what was going on. I'm not even sure I could have. I don't know if I even understood that I was parenting the way I had been parented, and that, being emotionally unavailable was a thing, I mean, I didn't know. I just didn't know. And
I didn't either.
And then once you do know, of course, we've heard this before. Once you do know, hopefully you do better. So that's, you can't go back to not knowing, but that was my story. And that was even with the father of my kids. So I couldn't even let him in.
Yeah.
And that was just how we were raised. I think that was a big part of it.
It wasn't until I was older. I was sitting having breakfast with my dad, and I talked about, how I had all these responsibilities, and I was holding on so tight to them. And I said, I'm afraid. I was so afraid to even let one thing go, or ask for help in one single department, that I would drop it all, and I'd never be able to pick it all back up.
Yeah.
Like, you can't feel anything, because if you feel self-pity at any moment, you're just gonna that pity party will take over, and how do you get out of it once you put all that stuff down? And once you drop it, and I didn't know that you could pick up only certain things. I thought you had to pick up all of it again, but it turns out you can pick and choose what you want to pick back up. I just remember telling my dad, I was so afraid when the kids were little that I would drop stuff and I wouldn't be able to pick it back up. And he said, I remember feeling like that with you guys. And when your mother was sick, and I just kept putting one foot in front of the other. And I think he knew that he had been emotionally unavailable to us, but he didn't realize it when we were young. He realized it when we were older, and we could have that conversation. And I've had that conversation with my own kids.
Same.
And even in my marriage, I was emotionally unavailable, because it's what I took with me. Like, this is my dowry, emotional unavailability.
You lucky guy.
But the thing is, I get to pick and choose what I pick up now. We don't have to take on, guilt from the 1800s.
No.
or shame from the 1800s. Being responsible for everything.
Yeah.
Women work outside of the house just like men
Right.
do.
Yeah.
We have stresses and strains. Why can't we work as a team, roll up our sleeves together,
Yeah.
get in the trenches side by side?
Yeah.
Why do we have to, be so separate when we can actually be together? And this is the other thing I was thinking of, was not sharing our vulnerabilities with our kids. They're not I'm not saying to make it theirs. Some things are truly not their business.
No.
But, asking them for help in the little ways that they can help, and bigger kids can help in bigger ways.
Yeah.
But why can't we show them how difficult it is for us, and what it takes to truly be a partner in a relationship? That is our gift to them.
Yeah.
That is our gift to them to bring into their next relationship or their marriage, should they ever decide to get married, their partnerships.
Yeah.
That's friendships, that's everything.
Yeah.
Everything should be more equal. And if it's not, reevaluate. What needs to be there.
Yeah. And who's to say, I mean, why wouldn't you have these conversations, really? If we're talking about like a relationship, a husband and wife, or your partner, whatever that is, why can't you have these conversations, before you're in it, or while you're getting into it, and once you're deciding that you have a future together? Like, why can't you have these conversations? Because we all have strengths and weaknesses, and even sometimes something that's a strength one day is a weakness maybe the next day. So it's like, to be able to have that give and take, and to have somebody who can pick up where you leave off because you just don't have it in you that day, or whatever. I think I heard an analogy once about, we're all juggling balls, and some are rubber that bounce. If you drop them, they're going to bounce. And then there's other ones that are glass that might break. So like discerning what balls you can let go and they'll bounce for a little bit, and others that may break, but maybe they won't. Maybe they just
needed
look
to
like
break
glass.
anyway.
Maybe they needed to break.
The thing is, just
True.
like generational programming. Maybe that does need to break. I'm not saying
Yeah.
that everything we picked up from the generations prior was trash.
No.
Because there's a lot of resilience there, and there's a lot of
Yeah.
creative problem solving,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of things
Yeah.
that they had to overcome and work through.
Yeah.
But
They had to be
they
thinkers.
had to be teams.
Yeah.
They had to
Community.
be teams.
Yeah. Village. Yeah.
They definitely had to be community, and we're talking back when people looked out for each other.
Yeah.
And now nobody's got time for one another. Like, we've made ourselves so busy that we don't have time to reach out to the neighbor and say, hey, how you doing? I made this soup today. Can I bring you a bowl?
Feed cookies to old ladies
Yeah.
in parking lots.
Yeah. The thing is, my neighbor brought me soup, not last week, but the week before. And I'd come home from being out all day, and I could not think of a thing that I wanted to eat. And when she came over with a dishcloth and a glass bowl of beef vegetable
That's
soup,
so
I'm
nice.
like, and that's not the first time she's done that.
Yeah.
She brought me banana pepper soup the one day, and I almost cried
Oh,
because I was just so grateful to have it. But that's the community that I'm
Yeah.
building around myself
Yeah.
now, that I can be open and be so grateful for that gesture. And you know what? It works both ways. It works both ways.
yeah.
And
Sure.
I absolutely love the people that I surround myself with. And we've taken that part of the generation
Yes.
and we've applied it.
Yeah.
But we've also added the vulnerability piece to it, where we can show some vulnerability. And I'll talk to my neighbor. She'll come over and sit in my yard, or I'll go sit in her yard. And, I'm no stranger to being vulnerable. Like, if I can't be vulnerable with you, I'm not sure that we're really friends.
True.
Because I throw it all out there. I'm not ashamed. And I know there's a lot of people that are like, consider vulnerability a weakness.
Yeah.
But it's not.
No, it's your
It's truly
superpower.
not. It really is
Yeah.
because, no, I kind of lost my track. I was watching the family walk by with their baby.
Yeah.
The thing is, you can be in a state of vulnerability and just by looking at you, we know what you need, or we know what each other need. You know,
You say, can you hold my hand? Can you just listen and not interrupt, and just listen to what I have to say? I'm not looking for you to solve this for me, but I just need to tell you about it because I need somebody to share this with me because it's so heavy.
yeah.
Or, oh, I almost made myself cry there. Oh my gosh. Thanks for holding my hand. I didn't even know what that was
You're
for.
welcome.
Oh my goodness, what's going on?
Clearly,
Hormones.
I knew what you needed before you did. That's the joy of that.
That is the joy. Oh my goodness, that's might be a good place to end. But I don't
know.
Should we give them our good news?
Oh yeah. So you go.
Okay, all right. So
Start.
So I have been looking for a space to call my own in the work that I do, and so just as of last week, we met with our friend Colleen. If she's on here, Colleen. Well, she's not on here yet, but so we're going to be renting space from our friend Colleen at Great Lakes Massage Therapy and Bodywork Practitioners in West Seneca. And so we're actually very excited because we're going to offer a Reiki 1 and 2 course January 13th, 2024.
Yeah.
So if anyone's interested, and again, if you don't,
be under Sisters
it'll
Squared.
Yeah, it'll be under Sisters Squared, and we'll get more information out about it. But we're just letting people know. But I guess the bigger news is that we're really excited to have a space
that we can work together.
that we can work together and independently, and of course Colleen and Nicole have been and Calypso. I know Calypso's doing some other stuff, but we love these ladies, and it just felt so incredibly right when we each actually separately we saw the post and we're like, oh, I wonder if that would work for us. And I was very drawn. I've been drawn for some time, and I guess I was just sort of waiting for something to open up somewhere. And then when Colleen made that post, I was like, I think that might be it. And I talked to Kristen, and she saw it too, and it was like, oh my gosh.
The same way.
So anyway, we're very excited.
So we are excited because the one class that we really love teaching together is the Reiki 1 and 2 because we play off of each other together so well. And we wrote the manual together ourselves.
We did.
Like, we had a great time doing it.
We did.
We barely consulted with each other. She was on my laptop and I was on my phone, and I would put pieces together and they fit so perfectly with what she was putting together. Yeah. And we picked out pictures together, and it was just such a great
it flowed.
process.
Yeah, it flowed.
It was definitely a divinely guided project.
Yeah.
And we just take such joy in offering it. Yeah. So down the road, look for future events from Sisters Squared because we will be hosting in our new together space.
Yay, I'm so excited.
And yes, because we do each have our own business, we'll be offering other things on our own business pages. But this is the one thing that we truly gave birth to together. And we love the way it came out. And it is such an honor and a blessing for us to be able to teach it because it fits so well.
It does.
So that being said, we hope you all enjoy your Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah, happy Tuesday.
Much love and many blessings.
Mwah!
Still going.